Have you ever considered that your struggles might hold some of the valuable keys to help you move on after divorce or separation? In this video, I'm going to reveal how my own struggles early in life held the key to reinventing my own life after divorce, leading me to step into the shoes of the woman that I longed to become. Hey there, beautiful. My name is Fiona Christie. I'm the founder of The Internalists, and we help women in midlife build courage and confidence so they can reinvent their lives after divorce or separation. If you're new here, make sure you click that subscribe button, and all the links to everything we mention in this video you can find linked in the description box below. So jump on into it. After a few false starts, I was finally able to uncover what would lay the foundation to reinventing my life the right way after divorce. So, right now, we're going to look at what led me to that place, where I was able to discover the secret that was the catalyst for shaping my life that I lived today. So, if you're sick of being stuck in Groundhog Day after a messy breakup, separation, or divorce, keep watching. This video is for you. A few years ago, my world looked pretty different to what it is today. I was trying to rebuild my life after the end of my marriage, not quite divorced yet. I thought then that if I could just change my job to earn more, get myself back on the property ladder, and eventually look for the right relationship, then everything would be normal. Jumping into renting a cute wee cottage in the seaside location sounded good at the time and was my first step. But when I viewed the cottage, my intuition was speaking to me loud and clear. You see, there was a funny smell which I couldn't identify. I put it down to the new paint. I loved the location and transport was handy to work, so I took it. Finally, I could start again and begin to rebuild my life, or so I thought. My intuition was right about the wee cottage. Turns out the smell was actually attributed to a nest of rodents, rats or mice, underneath the house. But by the time I'd located that, I'd given my notice to move out. And I decided to trust that it would all be okay, and it all was, thanks to a beautiful friend who invited me to stay. And there I stayed for 6 weeks. So serene and peaceful it was. I'd need to earn more to cover the rent and my living expenses. At the time, I was only working part-time, so the hunt for a full-time position, which paid well, led me to accept a training position in a large government organisation. Again, my intuition was clear. I felt uneasy about the job and the manager I'd been working for, but I thought, well, I just had to take it. I was on a mission to rebuild my life, get back on track as quickly as possible. I was off to a brand new start, a new life that I designed myself. And why wouldn't I be happy? New job, great house. My tick the boxes exercise, where I could have everything I desired and more. Talk about a great start, right? But while ignorance was bliss for me and many others like me, I would soon realize that I took me with me, and that me wasn't happy. The new job, new house, and eventually new relationship wasn't actually what I needed. I kept leaping into everything, just like jumping into the next course that would promise to meet Mr. Right in record time or make money from real estate so I could do what I loved, which was get back to coaching, not to mention the commitment it took to fulfill the needs of my new job, which was so demanding. Quickly, I was back into the frustrated state. Groundhog Day had reappeared just in a different way. I guess I hadn't mastered how to rebuild my life after divorce as easily as I thought I would. Heck, I even got myself into debt, taking a course to learn about how to flip property. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with flipping property if that's what floats your boat. But it didn't take long before I was drowning in a job I hated, and by that time, I'd got back on the property ladder, living in a small apartment, which I loved but couldn't afford. I felt like I was forcing myself to get on the hamster wheel, go on dates, stick stick at it at a job that I hated, buy houses I couldn't afford, because I thought that was what all I could do. I thought that this time I'll do it differently. This time after my divorce, life will be different because I've learned some things. I wasn't feeling empowered or equipping myself to take ownership of the life I really wanted. It reminded me of that old saying, you can't have your cake and eat it too. But that saying goes against everything I believe in. I knew that I could have my cake and eat it too. So what was I missing? I yearned to be back coaching, but couldn't see a way to do that. And I keep and to keep the home that I love and the job that I didn't love. I remember well meaning friends and colleagues at the time. I went for an interview for the job saying, it's okay, it's just for now. You need to take care of yourself financially. I did want my cake and eat it too. So, was that too much to ask? I realized I didn't have a system. I didn't have a roadmap and inner guidance system that I could come back to again and again, no matter what happened, divorced, separated, single, or not. I was riddled with false starts. Think those early computer games where you go into a maze and keep making the wrong turns, but much more miserable. And I felt like I had no option but being forced to become a yes ma'am, no ma'am within a sector that didn't fit with my values. The life I'd created for was fully dependent on me earning X to live Y, and I was trapped. I couldn't do what I really wanted because I was now stuck in a job I disliked, in a house I loved but couldn't afford, and in debt. I felt like I was constantly asking for more, 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 and all because I'd failed to equip myself with an internal or an inner guidance roadmap. Here I was trying to rebuild my life to empower and equip myself and eventually others globally, and I was getting stuck trying to fulfill my own needs by leaping around left and right instead of going and following a plan that would have me feeling empowered. Sure, I was living in an apartment I love, or it was a townhouse, with a little garden out front. I was able to place my mark on it by doing some renovation, but that wasn't enough. But was I fulfilled? No. I knew I wasn't having the impact I was created to have. If I was going to keep doing what I was doing, either I needed to learn to live without purpose or something else needed to change. And if you know how highly I value my purpose, I'm sure you can guess which option I picked. I knew something had to change, but I was torn. I loved my home and I didn't want to leave. That was a no-brainer. I knew exactly why I loved it too. So was having the home I loved enough? Because I desperately wanted to make a difference in mine and other women's journeys, to save them from making the same mistakes I made. Sure, I was getting frustrated and stressed, but I was on the right path, wasn't I? Wasn't that more important to have stability and be happy in my environment? Defeated, I started thinking about selling, but still felt stuck. Then a major event happened. One night at 12 o'clock midnight, a very big earthquake struck, a magnitude 7.8 that would change everything. I thought because I lived in a community of units that people would look out for each other. I was single, living on my own, and no one came knocking on my door. Actually, some of them weren't home anyway, which I didn't realize at the time. And an hour later, the tsunami warning sounded. It was a bit late if it really was a tsunami, but having never heard one before and not being prepared, I bundled up my cats, got in the car, and drove up against the traffic up to a hilltop. I sat in my car, and the first thought that came into my head was, I didn't sign up for this. This isn't what I want. Hey, please, before I jump into the next part of the story, please be sure that you stick around to the end because I'll share with you exactly what the struggle was that helped me and how I used it to shape a better future for myself. So, right, let's get back to the story. So at that moment, I knew without a doubt that I had to change. I decided right then and there to sell my beautiful townhouse I loved so much. But I got into planning mode. I would build the tiny house I'd always dreamed of building. I also realized that when I was young, I had a learning difficulty. Well, I had difficulty learning. So that day, I vowed to create a system that I could come back to again and again. You see, my learning difficulty, what was missing was a systematic approach for me. So this would be a roadmap that would allow me to map out my journey forward. What followed was nothing short of a miracle. I started preparing my home for sale and began searching for the perfect tiny house. I travelled up and down the country, viewing tiny houses, staying them and interviewing builders, but I couldn't find what I was looking for. Then, through a friend, I met David, who happened to be a joiner. So that's what we call them in this country. And there's someone who works with creating things with wood, building stuff, you know. So he became my life partner. My house sold in 2 weeks, and I ended up moving out to the farm, as we call it, where he lived, which we now live in together. So he built my tiny house for me, and the rest is history. And this is how this stuff works. I knew without a doubt that once I had made that first step, the rest would fall into place. I didn't end up leaving my job until a few years later when another big epiphany came knocking at my door. Then I knew I had to document and create the system that I now call the internalist way. The internalist way teaches you all the steps that I take in my own life to keep me moving forward on the path that I know without a doubt is right for me. It allowed me to rebuild my life after divorce. I uncovered the secrets to opening doors and finding my pathways. They were all there right in front of me, but I'd been so focused on doing what was right, but not right for me. I had achieved so much transformation in my life, and none of it would have been possible without trusting in the process, which I have now documented into a system. That system is available to a select few, and I now only work with a handful of women at any one time. I knew that what I was creating had to be super accessible, easy to create, and step by step. It needed to be a roadmap that I had been missing for years. So, through an online course and training portal, together with one-on-one personal coaching with me, the program, The Internalist Way, is now available. And it's available to a select few. It seemed almost too good to be true. I questioned, how could I actually add value to these clients? But just by providing them information. And would people even want this? While I was still weighing up the options, word started to travel around my family. And my father kept asking me, you're spending so much time creating this thing. When are you going to launch? Geez, talk about a confidence boost. Even though the negative chatter was lurking, I knew that there was something too big to ignore. I knew that I had a bigger purpose to impact way more women in midlife than just me, who wanted to rebuild their lives and move on after relationship breakup, to step into the shoes of the woman that they longed to be. Say goodbye to playing it small and hiding behind the covers, and sell my brand spanking new online course or and coaching instead. There was only one slight problem. I had created content, but it was initially written to help women overcome lack of confidence and courage, but not how to rebuild their lives after divorce or breakup. But then something clicked. Everything the course taught fitted women who were wanting to rebuild their lives or move on after separation, because likely they were lacking in confidence and courage too, and feeling just as frustrated as I had been. You see, the bones of the course were done years before. As it turned out, I made the right move. Talk about game-changing, right? It was so overwhelming to know how valuable this was to my clients, even before they got their hands on it. And yet, there was still a bit of doubt. I don't know what it was. Maybe my dad's voice was still ringing in my ears, but I couldn't help but doubt myself yet again. Surely this was going to be way too expensive. To start with, my videos were pretty amateurish. And when I look back, I feel a lot embarrassed when I look back at those videos. But I knew that taking massive imperfect action was totally in alignment with what I was teaching. So that was 2 years ago. And that one big course has finally come to fruition and is making a huge impact. And I knew that the way to make it work was to offer individual coaching with it as well. Yep, I sometimes have to pinch myself, but I know it's real. You might be thinking right about now, but you need more than just a roadmap or a guidance system. You might be thinking that you just need the course that will teach you how to fast track into the dating scene, or how to earn X within Y months, or how to validate that your X is all wrong. But wait, before you dive into the next course that promises the world, let me ask you something. Are you sick and tired of repeating the same mistakes in your life? Do you want to make a big change in yourself? Because there's the step before those courses that promise the new man, job, house, etc. And that's to start at the very beginning. You need to learn about vibrational energy, how like attracts like, and how by changing your thought patterns and stopping those limiting beliefs in their tracks, that's how you'll see lasting change. Now, I could have launched the How to Meet the Right Man, How to Make $1 million, how to do all that first, because those are waiting in the wings. But no, you must do this one first. So I used to think that the courses promising instant fixes were what I needed too. But through my controversial way of creating your internal guidance roadmap, you might think you're not smart enough, but actually, the work required to complete the program doesn't have to be overwhelming. The program caters for all learning styles. It's hands-on, video and workbooks, and weekly calls with me. If I, a challenged learner in my youth, can master this inner work, anyone can. The truth is, using the internalist way has totally changed my life and business. But the even better part, it's changed the lives of other women in midlife who are wanting to shift their lives forward after divorce or relationship breakup. Click on the link below in the description to download your own copy of the Reinvention After Divorce Starter Kit, where you'll learn a simple technique to help you begin to shift your own vibration. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Be sure to check out some of my other helpful how-to videos and subscribe to my channel. Bye for now, your mindset coach, Fiona. Bye.